Welcome to Spooky Stories and Creepy Tales, where I, Silas Darkwood, narrate stories of horror and dread. Tonight, The Masque of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. A decadent prince locks himself away from a plague, only to face a mysterious guest at his grand masquerade. Will he escape the specter of death, or will the final dance claim them all? Stay until the end to uncover the chilling truth. Dim the lights, pull up your blanket, and get ready for this gothic nightmare. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal, the redness and horror of blood. There were sharp pains, sudden dizziness, and then profuse bleeding at the pores, with dissolution. The scarlet stains upon the body, especially upon the face, shut out the victim from the sympathy of their fellow men, and the whole seizure, progress, and termination of the disease were incidents of half an hour. But the Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his castellated abbeys. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. A strong and lofty wall girdled it in. The wall had gates of iron. The courtiers, having entered, brought furnaces and massy hammers and welded the bolts. They resolved to leave no ingress or egress to the sudden impulse of despair or of frenzy from within. The abbey was amply provisioned. With such precautions, courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, improvisatori, ballet dancers, musicians, beauty, and wine. All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was toward the close of the 5th or 6th month of his seclusion that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that at masquerade. But first, let me tell you of the rooms in which it was held. There were 7, an imperial suite. Each room was a different hue, with stained glass windows corresponding to the walls. The easternmost chamber was blue, the second purple, the third green, the fourth orange, the fifth white, the sixth violet. The 7th apartment was closely shrouded in black velvet tapestries, but its windows were scarlet, a deep blood color. In this chamber no light of any kind shone, save that which streamed through the blood-tinted panes, casting a ghastly hue upon all who entered. And here stood a gigantic clock of ebony. Its pendulum swung with a dull, heavy, monotonous clang. Each hour it struck, and all revelry ceased, as if the sound froze the dancers in their tracks. But when the echoes had fully ceased, a light laughter at once pervaded the assembly. The musicians looked at each other and smiled, as if at their own nervousness, and the revelers returned to their dance. Now the masquerade was at its height, and the wildest of costumes filled the halls. The prince's taste for the bizarre governed all. There were arabesque figures with unsuited limbs, delirious fancies such as the madman fashions, and much of the beautiful, the wanton, the grotesque. But to the 7th chamber few dared venture. The blood-tinted light filled it with a special air, and the black hangings seemed to whisper of death. And yet there came a figure, unnoticed at first, moving through the crowd. This figure was tall and gaunt, wrapped in the habiliments of the grave. Its face was masked in the likenesses of a stiffened corpse, dabbled with the scarlet horror of the Red Death. Its presence caused a stir, a buzz of disapproval, of disgust, of terror. The Prince Prospero, maddened with rage at this mockery, demanded who dared insult his court. He stood in the blue chamber, his courtiers behind him, and called for the intruder to be seized. But none moved. The figure glided through the suite, from blue to purple, purple to green, and so on, until it reached the black chamber with its blood-red windows. The prince, his courage flaming, rushed forward with a dagger drawn. He reached the figure at the threshold of the 7th room. The figure turned. There was a sharp cry, and the dagger dropped gleaming upon the sable carpet. The Prince Prospero fell dead. The courtiers, now roused to action, rushed into the black apartment. They tore at the figure, only to find the grave cerements and corpse-like mask empty, untenanted by any tangible form, and was now acknowledged by the presence of the Red Death. He had come like a thief in the night, and one by one dropped the revelers in the blood-bedewed halls, despairing, dying in the postures of their fall. And the life of the ebony clock went out with that of the last of the gay, and the flames of the tripods expired, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. Well, dear listener, the Masque of the Red Death reminds us that no wall can keep death at bay. What did you think of the prince's fate, and who or what was the masked figure? If that story sent shivers down your spine, hit that like button, drop a comment below with what you thought of it, or what story you would like me to read next. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a new story, because I drop new videos every Wednesday and Friday for your enjoyment. Have you got a terrifying story of your own that you'd like me to consider reading? Send them to stories@silasdarkwood.com. If you have enjoyed this and want to support more spine-tingling content, consider donating through my Ko-fi. This channel is primarily listener-funded, and I thank all of you who make this show possible. All links are, of course, in the show notes. Until next time, dear listeners, stay spooky, and I'll be haunting your feed again soon.